Well, a lot of you people don't understand what I'm saying, so let me elaborate a little bit more. There's, the fake Jews are part Turkish, part Mongolian, so of course they're going to have some Semitic genes. Okay. Now, let's look at the CIA, okay? If you look at the 1979 MK Ultra documentary by ABC News, you'll see that MK Ultra, one of the results of MK Ultra was the psychedelic movement of the 60s, around that time. And it was started by a bunch of college psychologists who were given drugs, LSD, by the MK Ultra guys. And then this led to shrooms and all these other drugs, okay? Now, when you look back in history, the cults used to use drugs to try to achieve an altered state of mind, to communicate with God, and they used a lot of drugs from nature, so they thought of it as a natural way to communicate to God. All this stuff is, valid source. All my information comes from valid sources. You can look it up. Facts. Okay. Now let's look at the other drugs. Okay, cocaine, right? Cocaine was brought into the black communities. That's when it really became popular, and you had these crack cocaine outbreaks, which is a result of chemists. Remember, Sidney Gottlieb from MK Ultra was a chemist. Donald Ewan Cameron was the head of the World Psychiatric Organization, not just some random psychiatrist, and he was the main psychiatrist of MK Ultra. Okay, so on record, the CIA started the psychedelic movement. They started the cocaine movement. Now, I'm not saying cannabis is a bad drug. I actually think it has a lot of good uses. But when the people in charge define what to do when you smoke weed, the cannabis movement, the cannabis culture, when secret societies and the people in charge define cannabis culture, it is bad. The reason why marijuana is legal in some states and legal for medical uses in others and more is because they want you in a drugged up state so they can push their agenda. They want you getting high and watching TV or playing video games and, what have you, instead of paying attention to what is going on. That's part of it. They want you, there's a long story for what that is. But on record, the same secret societies that started these other drug movements allowed marijuana to be legalized. Or do you think that a bunch of random potheads magically got together and had their way? No, this is big business. Who controls most of these marijuana clubs? How do they get their license? How do they make a deal with the city? How are they allowed to operate? How do they operate where they operate, and so on? When you truly get to the bottom of this, it's their network that has allowed them to do this 9 times out of 10. And they're owned by a whole lot of secret society whites and secret society Jews. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you should be a racist, but you should know who's doing this and why. To understand what's going on in the world, you have to understand the philosophies and the cultures behind that drive what's going on, that have allowed for it, that have helped define it, okay? Western philosophies and Western cultures, and I don't want to go on and on and on about these things, but those are, in a nutshell, that's what has created what is going on. And of course, this kind of Talmudic, kind of satanic, underground, Zionist kind of Jewish culture. So, what does that mean for society? It means that, unless you stand up to these people, you are a fucking coward. Let's face it. Unless you resist with all your being, you are controlled beyond fucking any doubt. How many of your decisions were your idea? When you went shopping, was it truly your idea to buy those clothes? Did somebody plant that idea in your head, at some point, and then you went there and you bought the clothes? They gave you a list of options, and they helped you come to the conclusion that you have, the conclusions that you have. It's called conditioning. Look at Pavlov's dog. These people literally condition people and dogs. Ever heard of a dog trainer? Ever heard of a snake charmer? What about a horse trainer? So you think they're training and conditioning all these animals, even birds, You know, you see those people with those birds of prey, falcons and so on, and they have those gloves and they train them to fly around the room and fly back and land on their glove. You think they've trained all the rats and mice and chickens and shit, but they haven't trained people? That they're not conditioning people? I mean, wow. Wow. If you think that, you're a fucking idiot. If you think that that they haven't spent the most time and resources learning exactly how to subtly condition people, then you're a fucking moron. What do you think marketing is about? Communication, psychology. How do you think people use these skills? You think every psychologist is just, looking for patients, or they're part of a powerful mental health network and they join big corporations, and there's military psychology. Now, I've went on and on and on about this stuff. This is a long video, but you need to understand what I am saying here. If you don't, all is fucking lost. I'm the top martial artist in America, and a bunch of sissies who hide behind social norms, which is, always in their best interest, will never admit that. You think they want me on TV saying these things? $3,000 to whoever can beat me. I live in the most populated state in America. I mean, these cowards have no morals. They are weaklings. They are inferior forms of life. Anyone who sees it their way has accepted the social norms and the lifestyle that has been given to them by inferior minds. Wisdom is the highest form of intellect, not trickery, not obsessing with certain sciences and inventing something or advancing them, but wisdom. Anything other than wisdom is inferior. Anything other than resisting the evil people who kill millions and millions of people every year is inferior. How could you possibly be smarter than anyone else and help these people mass murder, mass drug, and mass rape? If you are in a secret society, you are inferior. If you are upholding social norms, you are inferior. If you do not resist, you are inferior, and the world is better off without you. Yes, the world is. We're not talking about common crime here. We're not talking about people who have been set up to the point where they're more likely to be criminals. We are talking about the criminals who set them up, who kill millions and drug millions and abort millions every year. Criminals. Inferior forms of life, poisonous slime, social fucking hazards. Thank you.